Yo, what's going on, guys? It's your boy King J. Another Teach Me episode. We have Asuka, but we don't have it with the traditional Asuka. We have a special Asuka. I wanted to make sure that it was diverse and stuff like that. So we got Komanda. Yo, what's going on?
What's going on, guys?
So,
Good
so
good to be here on the video, man. Super good.
good to have you on, man. So for the people that don't know too much about you, could you explain a bit about yourself and where you're from as well?
Okay, so I'm from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Um, Pretty well regarded as one of the stronger Asuka players in North America. We've placed fairly well at majors and regionals, top 8 most recently. And we even got to like top 24 at Combo Breaker. So decent knowledge, decent play style, and I'm not too flashy either. So something like this is super nice because I get to explain more about how you can go about playing neutral with her, and a little bit outside of the traditional aspects that you may think is cheesy, or she's nothing but panic moves. So good opportunity to kind of go over stuff like that.
Yeah, no worries, man. We got the platform, so we got to make the player shine, man. So without further ado, man, let me know what the key moves are for Asuka, man. I'm gonna put you on. Let's go.
So when thinking about Asuka, so she's one of those characters where she actually has a lot of really good tools, and it's kind of hard to pin down maybe like a top 5 key move range. Really, I think the best thing to optimize this character is to know when to be able to use all of her tools and when to use them.
Yeah.
But there are some generic tools that you're just going to be using a lot, and the goal of these moves are to really just get information about the opponent and how they like to respond to things.
Yeah.
So those moves are going to be her jab. So her jab is pretty well known as it's not traditional, whereas a lot of characters will be +1 after their jab. Asuka's actually -2.
Yeah.
But to compensate for this, she has really good jab strings. So things like 1-1,
Yeah.
1-1-3, 1-3, and 1-4.
Okay.
You're going to be using a lot of these moves. And like I said, the point is to get information. So even though Asuka has really good defensive tools, her goal is to make you hesitate. And in that hesitation, she gets mental plus frames.
Okay.
So when you're using things like her jab, if you did the jab by itself, the opponent may not retaliate right away just because they're expecting some kind of follow-up. So then when the opponent is hesitating like that, it becomes really good to make quick decisions by just throwing out that one jab. And now you can throw off timing. Now you can try to sneak in counter hit launchers. So her jab is going to be one of those tools. Her DF1. So her DF1, generic 13 frame mid.
Okay.
It has good follow-ups as well on counter hit. So she has DF1-2, which is -1 and gives her decent amount of pushback. And you also have DF1-4, which is a counter hit launcher, the second hit.
Okay.
It gives her some pretty beefy damage as well.
Nice.
And the third that I would say is probably really important is honestly your down 4. Generic 12 frame low, high crushes, and it's -2. And the reason why I like using this move, and I say it's important, is because her being at -2, even though she's technically minus, it will do one of two things. It'll propel the opponent to either try to take their turn right away. So you'll often see people try to retaliate with maybe like a quick mid or things of that nature.
Okay, cool.
And Asuka actually can do a pretty good job of navigating around these things. So something like down 4, sidestep, down back 1-2 for whiff punish. She can, if you have a good read on the opponent, you can try to parry but we'll talk about that a little bit later.
Yeah.
And then if the opponent tries to do something slow, you can slide in some of her really good tools from full crouch. So her full crouch down forward 2, which gives her pretty beefy follow-up, especially at the wall. While standing 4 is a good check tool. So those are pretty much the big 3 that you use to kind of get an idea of how impatient you think the opponent is going to be when they have to deal with these moves.
Okay.
So,
cool.
But she has like I said, she has like a plethora of good tools, and I think the biggest thing while you're getting information is that you can actually control the space pretty well with Asuka, especially at range.
Yeah.
So right around this 2 range, she has moves like down back 3, down 2, forward 4, and up forward 3. She has a lot.
And this is counter hit, right? Counter hit, knockdown.
It's a counter hit launcher.
Jeez. Nice.
Even sidestep 4 I find can be pretty useful. Has really good range. So like I said, so basically you want to use all these tools together to kind of control the way your opponent tries to get in on you.
Yeah.
Something that I don't think gets talked about enough, because a lot of the panic moves that you hear about and that are the bane of everyone's existence, they come after the opponent's already in your face. But Asuka has a lot of ways to keep you from getting in her face to begin with.
Yeah.
So I don't think that gets talked about enough. But also, just to kind of go over some of those basics really quickly. So up forward 3, I love using this move because it covers a lot of ground. It's a low crush. It's a counter hit launcher. It's +8 on hit. And that's a trend that you'll find with a lot of her. That's a trend that you'll find with a lot of her moves on hit, is that she's really advantageous. Like her jab, for example, even though it's -2, it's +9 on hit, which is super good because then she gets really nice frame traps like 1+2. The opponent can't challenge or step after it. Things like down 1+2, which for a lot of characters can be really hard to backdash. And so she also has forward 4, which I don't think it's talked about a lot either. It's like there's a lot of moves that are just you don't focus on them specifically, but when you do use them, they can be really good for her.
Yeah. What about back 4 as well? Because I know back 4 does it's counter hit, right?
Yeah. So back 4 is really good. It's a counter hit launcher. It's also a counter hit string. So back 4 by itself. So we'll start there. Back 4 by itself, +9, +8 or +9, one hit.
Oh.
And yeah, +8. It tracks to her weak side, so if you try to step to your right, it'll track in that direction, which makes it really good for plus range situations like FF1 or F4 when the opponent tries to step out away from those situations. And she has extensions, an extension to it where it's back 4-2. No, you're fine. Back 4-2.
And you can delay, right? Look at the delay window. Oh my god.
It is really good. So if the opponent tries to challenge at any point, you can continue with the next hit of the string. And it's natural after the 2. So if she gets to 2, the 3 is guaranteed, so...
Nah. Yeah, I couldn't do anything.
All guaranteed. And at the wall is really good too because it's the third hit is a wall splat.
Ah. So you can let it, sometimes you can let it rip, even though it is launch punishable, you can let it rip sometimes.
Right. And it's important to note that the second hit is -12. So it can be a mix-up to delay the third hit when you think that they're gonna try to punish.
Like that. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
So obviously not something you want to abuse, but back four by itself is really good, and it has pushback on block. But yeah, you wouldn't want to abuse the extensions, but they're really good if you have a read on the opponent liking to challenge after it.
Okay, cool. So if there was like 5 more key moves, what would you say they were? Like to quickly round it up, because there's obviously like forward 2, forward 4. I think forward 4 is pretty good, but it's a high.
Okay, so an additional. So I would probably say down back 1, 2.
Okay.
So this is a recent addition that they made to season 3.
Okay.
And she's always had down back 1, which is a high crush, and it crushes at 6 frames. So it's pretty much a true high crush. The extension that they gave her, down back 1, 2 is natural combo. It's a wall splat if you're at the wall. It's a screw attack as well. But the biggest thing why this move is useful outside of it being a high crush is that if you see that the opponent is trying to throw out something like a jab or you maybe sidestep something, you can visually confirm the second hit.
Okay.
And this really is huge for her being up close, because Asuka can sometimes have a hard time staying in on someone.
Okay.
So if you see that, a classic Mishima's with 1-1 to interrupt, now she has a way of stopping pressure up close with down back 1-2.
Ah, so it's like a pressure stopper then, basically.
Yeah, and it's super good, especially at the wall, because you get a nice resplat combo. If I can do it. Yeah. There you go.
I ain't seen that before. Nice.
So down back 1-2 definitely is a good one. I would say FF3 is a key move.
Which one? Ah, this one.
So I'm gonna say FF3 in conjunction with forward 4, and the reason is this is largely how you're going to get someone to respect your approach. Obviously, it's a homing move. It's a counter hit launcher. And now with the season 3 change, the opponent's left standing. So you can even get a cheeky little frame trap while standing 1+4 if they try to hit 1+2 as they try to hit buttons.
Oh.
So I think that's really important, because before you can get to all of her cancels, which we can talk about, you're going to be using FF3 to kind of make the opponent nervous. If they throw out anything slow, they'll get launched for their troubles. And then to complement that, you have forward 4, which is +3, even though it's a high, but opposite of forward 3, you actually get a mini combo on hit. So down back forward 3 is the easy combo, but if you want to be a G, you dash in with 1+4. I'm not sure if I'll be able to do it with the latency, but
Try it one more time. Yeah.
Yeah, she gets a nice combo if you can get it.
Yeah, that sounds hard.
You don't see it too often.
Oh, there we go.
There we go. There we go. Hold on, let's see if I can do it one more time. Yeah. It's hard, but it's a little easier to get the combo once you get the 1+4, because her down back 1-2 is gonna work. My execution is trash. Don't look, guys.
Let's not worry about this too much, because we're on past sec anyway, so it don't matter. So,
so they're nice. They're good in conjunction with each other. So if the opponent likes to duck a lot because they're afraid of forward 4, then you have FF3. So I would say those moves are super important. The classic forward two, probably one of the best whip punishers in the game. It's easy, no execution needed. It covers a lot of ground. There are some weird times when it'll go under highs as well. And then if you know that you're not going to be able to make it in time, there's a safety net and that you can cancel it by holding down. So if your opponent whiffs, it's a little too fast for you to punish with forward two. Now you've closed the distance into full crouch by using forward two.
And then you got full crouch, so this character's good. This character's good.
Some other really good key moves, just to name a few more. I'll go ahead and say her up forward three. I think I said that already.
Yeah, you said that one already. Yeah.
Okay. And her two best panic moves: back three, down three plus four.
Don't worry, we're gonna be talking more about back three and down 3+4 later on.
The greatest complaints that everyone has about this character.
What about down two? I think down two is a good one.
Down two is really good at range, and it has a lot of pushback, or it has good pushback rather. I don't just personally find it as something that should be abused, but definitely is good for frame traps and space control in the sense of if the opponent tries to retaliate, like while standing 4 or something from crouch. Depending on what the move is, Asuka can step and launch with punish. So down 2 is really good with setting those things up.
Yeah. What about, you said, we didn't say 1+2. I don't think we said 1+2.
Another really decent move. It's good to throw out 1+2. Like, honestly, you just do it. Because it's safe. It launches crouchers. So the only caveat is probably the range. It can be very easy to backdash, especially on characters like Lily, Safina.
Yeah.
But when it at the wall, a lot of her tool set just becomes a lot more useful. Like there's no backdashing this. Moves that have pushback are a lot better, like DF1, 2, because the pushback is non-existent at the wall and you're only -1.
Yeah. We're going to do it in sections though. Let's not talk about wall pressure just yet. We're going to do it in sections. So let's not...
right.
Yeah, we're good. But in terms of key moves, do you reckon that's done? Because we did say a lot of key moves.
Yeah, I think that would be a good place to start. But remember, it's kind of like you have to know when to use all of those moves to get the most out of it. For example, you wouldn't just want to always run up 1+2, even though it's a launcher that puts you at -9.
Yeah.
You don't want to just like abuse jab strings because you're missing out on frames basically. So, and a lot of times what you see newer Asuka players do is that they're going to be using a lot of these strings, and because they're so minus, it almost forces you to do those panic moves like sidestep 2, parry, power crush, because there isn't much else that she can really do after you do something like this. So you just kind of want to make sure you're flexible.
Nice.
And that you're trying to get as much information on the opponent as you can, rather than just trying to stay in their face and you be the aggressor.
Nice.
So Asuka generally plays a very slow game when you think about it that way.
Nice. Okay, cool. So, I wanted to just say 2 more points, is that she does have a very fast not wall bouncer. Yeah, I think this is pretty cool as a wall bounce.
Oh yeah, so definitely is really good at the wall.
Or whatever else.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And it adds to her full crouch game. Oh, which is something that I should mention. So her full crouch game, I guess you could put this as a key move, especially when in terms of full crouch. So it's basically homing. Very hard to step it. It's not impossible. Full crouch DF2.
How do you do it? Is it full
DF2? Crouch, yep, full crouch down forward 2.
Okay, cool.
Very hard to step. It's 0 on hit. And on counter hit, you get a guaranteed follow-up for... Now, if you're experienced and you have the execution for it, you get crouch cancel DF2 for a full launcher. I'm gonna see if I can do it once. I'm struggling. But you can get a... There you go. Oh, I can do that, but I can't do the 4-4 combo. Okay. So, yeah, this is... When you can do the launcher, you get more wall carry, of course.
What's the technique of doing that? Is it just crouch cancel by pressing up or...
Up, yep.
Okay, and then do down 4-2. So up, down 4-2. Okay. Nice.
And then something to note also is that you can get a rage drive from that as well. If it's like the end of a round, you block something really nice, and you get this move. You can do rage drive, and it'll be guaranteed if you do it fast enough.
Damn.
But yeah, so that's a key move from full crouch. And a good complement to that is while standing 2. 13 frame, and it tracks to her weak side. So you'd have to step left in order to step this.
Okay.
So there you go. And it's +9 on hit, so then you can get another beefy frame trap, like 1+2. So... And then at the wall, you get to spice it up with, full crouch DF3, get the wall bounce. So, and then at the wall also, you can do down 1+2, which I didn't talk about, but it's worth mentioning that you can do down 1+2 from crouch, and then it just makes her wall game just that much scarier.
All right. Well, we're gonna go on to that subject now. So we're gonna go on to wall pressure now. So. Let's talk about the wall pressure with Asuka, because we know wall pressure with her is really good.
So she has insane wall pressure. So we'll start with the wall bounces. So with a recently buffed Power Crush, forward 1+2. So this is the place to start. It's high, it's safe. So... And it has really good range, especially out here in like range 2. So this is something that you can use to basically scare your opponent and discourage them from hitting buttons. She has full crouch DF3, which is a mid, to complement. So if they're trying to duck your 4-1+2, then you have a nice mid wall bounce to mix it up with. As I mentioned earlier, a lot of moves that ordinarily have pushback with Asuka, she can now take advantage of those things, primarily down back 3. So in space, she has a hard time following up with that +4 because of the pushback. But now, because you're at the wall and there is no pushback, she can do things like catch mashers with DF1-4.
That's crazy.
As I mentioned, down forward 1-2 has less pushback now. So now, at this range, if the opponent tries to hit buttons, you can go for some wall splats like sidestep 2, which is a full wall splat.
So do down forward 1-2 and then do something the sidestep. Like that. There we go. Crazy.
So she can do that. And she has FF3 if the opponent tries to step away from the wall, which gives a full splat as well. And then of course in full crouch. Oh, and in full crouch you get full counter hit wall splat combo with full crouch CF2. And then the biggest thing about her wall game is her 50-50, which is down 1+2 as opposed to 1+2. Now, if you get down 1+2, she can get a little bit of a loop in that she gets a guaranteed forward 2 for a pancake flip. And this will force your opponent to tech roll or wake up, and she gets to basically do it again with the right read. So dash up, and now she's basically at range and at advantage to do it again.
Okay.
And this is big for her comeback potential. Also, one of the things that kind of complement her counter hit game is when she does get that hit, she has a lot of ways to kind of steal life off of you from Oki. So this is one of the biggest ways that she's going to be doing that. So you have a few options when you hit the down 1+2 and get the forward 2 follow up. If the opponent stays on the ground, you can obviously just forward 2 again.
Okay.
You can play it safer and go for maybe a low hit like down back 4, down back 3. But if the opponent stands up, now they have to guess between you doing down 1+2 again, or you can do dash up 1+2, or my favorite, dash up FF1.
Because you get frames, right? So if say for example if I get up and I take roll, you get your +4, right? So
yep, and that means I get slightly more leadway to just do it again.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. That's crazy. See if I do down. See if you do one down 1+2. Can you do rage drive straight away?
Yes, you can. So that's another way for her to kind of steal around back. The timing is pretty tight, but you can get a guaranteed rage drive. She gets a few scenarios where she gets a guaranteed rage drive. Some of them being forward 4, forward 2+3. I'm trying to think. So down 1+2. She has a few ways. Guaranteed after while standing 1-4. So all of those things can give her a guaranteed follow-up if she has rage.
Okay, cool.
So, but yeah, her wall game is definitely one of the scariest. Other moves that are really good to use, that are my favorites, is DF4. And I use this as a kind of like a space trap because of the pushback. Okay. And this puts her in perfect range to implement things like forward 4 at range to keep him from stepping, FF3 at range to keep him from stepping. If the opponent's trying to retaliate with buttons, she's at perfect range to power crush. And then, of course, if they retaliate and you get a read, you can just punish with forward 2. Up forward 2 is a really good whiff punisher that should probably get more shine, because when the move is too fast to punish with forward 2, she has other options for whip punishment, namely down back 1-2 and up forward 2.
Okay.
But yeah, I just like using DF4 to set up a lot of those scenarios at the wall.
Okay.
Just so that the opponent feels tempted to retaliate and then punish them for doing so. And then if they do nothing, you can just charge your way in with a nice FF1, and now they just have to guess.
Nice. All right, so let's go over can-cans and back 3, because these are the moves that people talk about the most. Like, a lot of people say that this move is so cheap and all of this stuff. So let's go through it, man.
So back 3, we'll start with back 3 because that's one of the bigger offenders of the two, in my opinion. So back 3, low crush. So both moves low crush. Back 3 is a little bit slower with the low crush, but the thing about this move is that it's pretty awkward to punish. It's awkward pushback. Means that you kind of have to really be knowledgeable for your character, what your punish is, to make her pay for using back 3. Like, even Asuka can have a hard time punishing back 3 when it's like a tip range. Like, she can get a forward 2, but if you space it really well, she can struggle. So then you have its follow-ups. So there are some characters like Dragunov, like Fang, whose punish for back 3 would be a high. Like, I think for drag, it's like 4-1 plus 2.
Okay.
I think it's the same for both of them. And she has ways to go under that, because she has down back 4. So it can be really hard to punish if the opponent is not ready. But how I've used this move the most, and how I think it's most effective, is when your opponent is charging in. Now, mostly I use it, or I think it's best, when it's like those end of the round situations when your opponent's low on life, and they need to come in on you in order to get damage. And that's when I like using back 3, because it can be really difficult for someone to dash in, block it, and then punish it.
Yeah.
So that's when I find the most use out of it.
Okay.
I'm pretty notorious for not using back 3.
But if you was to use it, you'd use it around that time though, right?
Yeah, that's when I would use it.
Okay, cool. And what about can-cans? What about can-cans?
Can-cans, I use can-cans way more than I use back 3, because she has a unique can-can as opposed to like Devil Jin or regular Jin, where hers is safe.
Yeah.
Hers is -9. 14 frame startup. It low crushes a lot faster than back 3. It's a block. It's a true block. You have to hold back and it jails. I'm sorry, that's the term for it. So
you can't duck the second hit.
Now, if you block the first hit, so you'd have to duck the first hit in order to get a full punish.
Oh,
which a lot of people aren't going to be doing.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Some other, like, what makes this move really cheap as well is that if you're neutral guarding, you get hit. You get launched if you're neutral guarding. If you're caught stepping, like, early in the sidestep, you'll get launched as well.
Oh, really? Try again?
Yeah, if you're caught early in the sidestep, now that's kind of the trade-off, is that if she catches you late in your sidestep, then you can get that weird whiff animation where she'll clip you with the low, but the high will whiff, and then you can get a punish off of that. But if you catch them early, it'll launch them. So yeah, so those are kind of like the cheeky things to remember, is that you have to be holding back, or you have to be basically ducking in anticipation of this move. So I throw it out a lot when the opponent is just in my face, because even if they block it, it just kind of resets that space if I'm not getting a full launcher. So
yeah.
Now, some other really weird things to note about can-cans is that it doesn't crush every low. It's actually timing dependent, because some classic examples, if you have Jin's down back 4, Kazumi's down back 4, Kazuya's down back 4. If you do it too late, I'm sorry, if you do it too early or too late, I'm not sure which one. I think it's too late, I'm sorry. If you do it too late, she doesn't get a full launcher off of it. It registers, I think, as a punish, but you don't get the full launcher. And I think that needs to be fixed, please. But some characters, like their primary lows, like Brian's hatchet kick, if you're trying to crush it with can-cans, unless you're calling it out super early, you're not going to launch him for attempting to hatchet, which can really hurt her if you like using that move, because those moves she doesn't get like beefy punishes off of, so you're better off trying to crush them.
Yeah.
But then it makes it more risky then, because you're not getting the full launch from can-cans. She actually has a similar problem with her up forward 3. If you're too late, she doesn't get the counter hit launcher with up forward 3.
Bro, that's crazy.
These are just kind of things to remember when you're trying to use these moves. I know them because I love using these moves.
Yeah.
and I see that they don't crush sometimes. And then this is where back 3 comes in. Like, back 3 will crush it, you know? But then you run the risk of possibly getting punished.
Yeah.
So...
Okay.
But yeah, the everyone loves to hate these moves, and but it's really just kind of, you have to know how to punish back 3, either at close range, and you have to know if your character has a consistent punish for it. If you block it at tip range, and that's what's kind of annoying, is that if you space it really well, it can be virtually impossible to launch her. Like, some characters just have to settle for, like, a small poke that reaches.
Yeah.
So, both moves can be really good to just kind of throw in there when the opponent is overextending and just trying to stay in your face.
Alright, cool. So, that's Kankan's back 3 explained. We're going to go into reverse timing. So, we're going to talk about the parry. So... talk to me just like briefly about the parry and when to throw it out, because I know a lot of people won't know when to throw out this parry, and obviously it's got a short window and it's got a long window. So just explain, like, just briefly, like maybe like a quick overall on the parry.
You use it all the time. No. Okay, so my favorite timing on when to use parry is also kind of those end of the round scenarios, when your opponent is getting super excited to kind of close out the round, and they do something like low into mid. Pretty classic sequence.
Yeah.
And that is the perfect time to throw out the short parry. To just kind of keep people from using that autopilot flowchart that people tend to have when they're excited about finally getting some kind of pressure on this character. I use them primarily in some scenarios when I've taken a hit, because something like down 4 or a nice chunky low, because your opponent is usually going to want to follow up with something, with some kind of frame trap or something of that nature, and it's really good for Asuka to use it at that time.
Okay.
To make the opponent think about their follow-up.
Right.
And that's kind of the point of all of her panic moves and used together, is that your opponent should be very afraid to have continuous pressure on Asuka.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
A good time to use it as well is against strings. So, for example, Asuka can parry her own string. I believe she can. So if you do something like back 1-2, she can. There you go. So it's good to interrupt string pressure as well, to make the opponent keep their offense more compact. So, and her parry is also very useful because it gives her a guaranteed rage drive as well. But yeah, so that's generally when I use the parry. You also use it at the wall, because she gets a wall combo with it. So
nice.
So that would be a really good time to use it as well. You can, like, she has different ways of getting out of the wall, but that probably gives her some of the most reward, because not only does she get a full combo, but now the opponent's back is to the wall. So and now she gets to assert a really good wall game.
Nice. Alright, cool. So I think that's it for reverse timing, right? So let's go on to throw situations. So talk about her throws and what she gets from any of her throws, if she gets anything.
Okay, so to start off, Asuka does not have all 3 command throws. She has 2 out of the 3. So she has a command 2 throw in down forward 2+3. She has back 1+2. And she has full crouch. Well, she has falling ring. I'm sorry. So it's full crouch, down forward, down forward, 1+2.
Okay. She gets a combo from this. Yeah.
Yep, she gets a full combo from her falling rain throw, as well as a side switch. So if you're at the wall, it's also... I like using it at the wall sometimes as well, just to switch sides. She also gets a side switch if the opponent breaks her 1+2 throw.
Okay, let me try and break it. Go on.
So this is also how I like to get away from the wall as well, just to have them break this throw. But yeah, so she gets good Oki off of her generic throws, surprisingly. Her one throw.
Does she get?
Which get this? So she gets a 50-50 off of this. So she can do one of two things, which is back four. Back four will give her a counter hit launcher for all get up kicks. So it'll force your opponent to either stand block or stay on the ground. And if you get the read on your opponent and they stay on the ground, her best option of hitting low grounded is down 3. I say this because it'll track both side rolls, whereas if you roll to the right, I believe it's to the right, she doesn't get her classic down back 4. It might be to the left, but it might be to the left, but her down back 4, if they stay on the ground and roll, doesn't track both side rolls. Her down 3 will.
Okay.
And then if you know the opponent's gonna stay down, then you can go for Snake Edge.
Okay, cool.
So, but she has really good Oki off of that, and it's the same as her doing up forward 2 and DF 1-2. So the same Oki for those 3 situations across the board. And then her 2 throw, she has a few options for her 2 throw as well. Classic is to just do forward 2. Forward 2 covers a lot of options on the ground. I think you have to side roll to your left to evade it if you're on the ground. Pretty sure you have to side roll left. It might be to the right. I'm sorry. But you can side roll out of this.
I did try to do it to the right, but I think it might be. I've side rolled out of it before, so I know what you mean.
Yeah. And the reason why you would use forward 2 over DF3 is because DF3 doesn't track side rolls at all from that scenario. So at least with forward 2, you force them to side roll in a particular direction if they are going to side roll.
Yeah.
And then you can go for your grounded hits. Now the way you get out of it is you would just stand up, and that's what kind of makes it. I'm sorry. And that's what makes it risky. And then you can launch her for it. But then if you know that they're going to do that as well, then she gets a mix-up with some of her lows.
Okay, cool.
But good Oki for the both of them. She doesn't really get anything off of her command 2 throw. The biggest thing about this move is that I like to wait, and it puts her basically right at that range where the opponent might think that they can slide in a get-up kick. And then you can just kind of stand there, do nothing, and just get forward 2.
Yeah.
I love doing that, but she can also close the distance with instant while running 3. If the opponent tries to do a low get-up kick, I can try to do it. I'm gonna try to do it. It's hard, but she can definitely. There it is. So
Nice.
I like doing that, especially at the wall. Especially at the wall because with the right positioning, you can get a full wall combo in doing that. So that's when I like using it.
Nice. So is that it with the throws then? Can we move on to the last or?
Yeah, she doesn't get too much off of her throws. A good thing to note though is that she's -2 whenever you break her generic throws.
Okay.
Which means you still have some leadway to move and maybe attack if you have a good read. And then on her command throw, she's -6. So that's a little bit that can be a little bit more challenging to try to press off of, including falling rain.
Oh, well, I didn't even try to break it on. Try again.
Yeah, so -6.
Damn.
But so that's why I like using her generic throws. A for positioning, and then B, if they break it, you can still try to counter hit or still try to make them hesitate or make them think twice about trying to attack, even if they break it.
Nice. All right, cool. So I think that's it for throw situations. So we're now going to talk about how to fight against Asuka. So now I know you're a tournament player and stuff, but I just want you to just kind of like go through like maybe 2 or 3 tips of how to fight against the character. Nothing too long, just like brief little tips.
Be patient. This is kind of like, it's so much easier said than done because Asuka has so many ways to just annoy you. But the biggest thing to remember is that Asuka doesn't really have a good way of taking small chunks of damage away from you. So, you know, if you think Mishimas and you think Hell Sweep, right, it can be really scary to just kind of stand there because Hell Sweep, Asuka doesn't really have that. She has down 1+2, but as you saw right there, it's so easy to backdash it, even with the small buff that they gave in its range. So it forces her to try to really dash into your face and do down 1+2. But other than that, Asuka doesn't really give you a reason to duck. And it's important to remember that because if you turtle her, if you have the life lead and you turtle, she's gonna have to do things like a lot of down back 3s in order to try to make up for that. Like down back 4. And it's not too great to try to make up for that life deficit in such a short amount of time.
Yeah.
Like, she thrives off of the opponent making a mistake. So the less opportunities that you give her, the better off that you are in the matchup. The other most important thing to remember is in very classic situations where Asuka can be plus, sidestep right into duck is going to be one of your best friends. It avoids, so after something like FF1, it avoids a lot of her common follow-ups like forward 4, down forward 3, down forward 1, down back 3, down back 4. So it'll force her to mix up how she takes advantage of those plus frames, if she even takes advantage of them at all. She does have moves to kind of counteract those things, like back 4, a forward 3, and down 4.
Okay.
But in general, just sidestep right and ducking is really good to make her kind of second guess her offense. So those would be like the top 2 things to remember, is just kind of don't try to force any offense on her. You actually want her to feel like she has to take initiative, because then it's very easy. Something I see a lot of Asuka players do is that when they need to kind of force the opponent to do something, that's when they use these strings. But then remember, she's heavily minus after some of those things. Well, not heavily minus, but she is minus. And that's your opportunity to try to chip her back and then back off. You increase your life lead even more, and now she has to work that much harder to make that comeback.
Alright, cool.
So pick your shots carefully, patiently, and sidestep right a lot. So those would be kind of like the top 2.
Nice. Well,
and a nice little OS that I will throw in that I don't think people think about too much is her throw game isn't that scary either, because she doesn't have that one throw to complete things. So a general strategy would just be, whenever you see a throw, to just hit 2 because whether it's the one throw, the two, or the command two throw, you're gonna break them, and all you have to do is look out for the 1+2s.
Right, that's true. You know?
So you shouldn't even be ducking the throws, honestly. So yeah, just don't duck. The only time that it becomes scary to duck is when you're at the wall. But otherwise, just be patient, keep your distance, get a life lead, and just don't try to force anything.
Okay, cool.
Which is easier said than done. Just because, you want to end the round, you want to get it over and done with, but that's exactly what she wants you to do.
Nice. All right, well, that is the end of the Teach Me episode. I appreciate you coming on, man. Could you tell the people that don't know much about you where they can find you on social media?
So you can follow me on Twitter. It's TK_Komanda. I don't really stream too much, but I got a new laptop, so I might actually start up streaming again. Yeah. So if you do want to follow me on Twitch, it's the same thing, TK_Komanda. But it's been an absolute pleasure and an honor just being here to talk about Asuka. And thank you so much for having me here.
I appreciate you coming on, man, for sure. Thank you very much for your time. Really, really appreciate it, man. For people,
and hopefully it was informative for everyone out there.
Nice, man. So yeah, guys, if you look like this, give a thumbs up to the video. I'd really, really appreciate it. If you don't got any questions, ask Komanda questions. He's on Twitter, he's on Twitch. Well, he's gonna start streaming because you lot are gonna bombard him, right? So make sure you lot bombard him and tell him to stream. Remember to subscribe.
Please, it'll give me some incentives to not be lazy. Actually, please bombard me.
So and subscribe as well. Subscribing on YouTube is free, so you lot don't lose out on anything. There's gonna be more episodes like this, so don't miss out. And leave a comment in the comment section down below. Take it easy, everyone. Peace.
Simmer down. Simmer now. Couple kicks to your boat. I'm a winner now. Like Eddie with the feet. I'm a killer now. Simmer down. Simmer now.